People want stuff that's different and unique. It's
Yeah.
golf fitness is what we're talking about. Speed golf is about changing perceptions about the sport of golf. Golf is a fitness sport. And when you play it this way, people play better.
What's up, golfers and multisport athletes everywhere? Welcome back to the Pace of Change Golf Podcast, where we're broadcasting the evolution of golf in the 21st century. Each week we sit down with the pioneers, entrepreneurs, innovators, thought leaders, and game changers in the industry and beyond. Guests like AFGL founder Roberto Balestrini, that's foot golf, two-time speed golf world champion Rob Hogan, track and field silver medal Olympian Nick Willis, CEO of the National Golf Course Owners Association Jay Caron, former Soft Spikes owner and golf revolutionary Rob O'Laughlin, and today, multisport pioneer, co-founder of Competitor Magazine and the Challenge Athletes Foundation, the godfather of extreme golf. That's right, I've been waiting for this opportunity. We got Bob Babbitt on the show today. Now, as a multisport pioneer and media mogul, and somebody who popularized speed golf in the 90s, I pretty much want to be like Bob Babbitt. So if you've listened to previous podcasts, this episode will feel a little bit different. First of all, he called me from his radio station. So even though I was technically doing the interview, it sounds like he's the host and I'm the guest on the line. It pretty much was that way. Now, I usually try to keep the listener in mind during a podcast. I've got a list of relevant questions to ask. But with Bob, it just, all that went out the window. It was a personal phone call. That's what it ended up being. It was like a mentoring session. And I almost forgot we were recording it. I mean, we got personal. So from someone who's already done it to someone who wants to do it now, this episode contains a blueprint for me and really anyone else who wants to grow the game of golf in the 21st century by doing what he said in the intro, changing people's perceptions. That's what I'm trying to do. Join in if you want to do it as well. Are you ready? We do it fast. We make it fun. So turn it up and enjoy episode 25 with Bob Babbitt. Hey, what's up, everybody? Want to take a quick second here and say thank you to all of our podcast sponsors and affiliates. We've had some really great support from them from the very beginning, and we're excited to continue on in the future. There's a couple that I want to highlight for this episode because I think some of you are going to be inspired. Some of you have had some ideas running around in your head, and I think after you listen to this, you might be inspired to go ahead and take the step forward. Now, sometimes that's difficult, and you think, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. I've got a sponsor and I've got an affiliate I want to tell you about. The first one is strikingly.com. Now, you can build a beautiful website in minutes. I've done it. I've literally built an entire website in 4 hours. No coding required. Strikingly.com. It's the best website builder for anyone who wants to build a gorgeous mobile-friendly website. Easily, quick, simple, and stylish. You can start for free, so it costs you nothing. And then if you want some additional features, then you can upgrade. There's simple pricing plans. Head over to our website, paceofchange.com, to the podcast sponsors and affiliates page. Click on the image over there, and that'll get you set up right away. The second, you're going to need a logo. You're going to need to build presentations, or you're going to need a social media, profile picture. Really, an entire brand you're going to need. Well, you can do that with ease at Taylor Brands. They use an artificial intelligence engine to help you along the way and give you what you're looking for. So you can design really anything you need in a matter of minutes. There's no hidden tricks, there's no pre-made logos. You can try it for free, and then if you like what you see, use our promo code PACEOFCHANGE at checkout, and they're going to give you a free social profile banner upgrade. That's a $25 value, guys. Take advantage of it and get out there. All right, here we go.
We are live.
Very good. Bob Babbitt, is a pleasure to have you on. I want to just tell you, first of all, when I decided to start this podcast, which was back at the end of last year, I came up with a list of names of kind of dream names of people that I wanted to have on. You were at the top of that list. So thank you so much for coming on to the Pace of Change today and talking about not only multisport, which I think is important to talk about, but, maybe talking about a part of your past that a lot of people don't know about, which is the sport of speed golf. So, man, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate that. Yeah, speed golf and what we called speed golf and extreme golf back in the day. Very, very important part of my journey. I just loved the whole concept. I've never been a good golfer. And I remember being a kid and going out with my dad and going, this move's way too slow. I can't handle it. And I'd be throwing clubs and doing all that type of crap. And my dad was always embarrassed. So, I just never even went near a golf course again. And then I heard about this guy, John Bell, who was doing something with his caddies out at a golf course east of here in Borrego Springs. And he was having his caddies would run and play, and they would have somebody in a golf cart caddying for him. And he called it speed golf. And so anyways, Steve Scott, the American who ran 135 sub 4-minute miles in his career, Steve actually holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the fastest round of golf. You could look it up. He played an 18-hole course in I think it was 28 minutes. Something that is either 28
or... It was right around there, yeah.
Yeah, 28 minutes.
28 or 29 minutes, under 30 minutes.
It was under 30, and the way he has set up is he actually, it was a little weird because the ball was already teed up on every hole, and basically he just ran up and hit it, and it didn't matter what he scored. So when Steve told me, hey, Bob, they're going to do a speed golf tournament out at this Rams Hill golf course, I was like, that sounds really cool. And I started talking to John. I'm like, well, would you mind if I got a crew together and we filmed it? And he goes, hey, that sounds great. So I got Charlie Jones as a commentator and myself. And we did a thing for Outdoor Life Network. And it was basically, we had no idea what was going to happen. So, we had, how do you put your best golfers off? We had Adam Johnson from beach volleyball. We had St. John Smith from beach volleyball. Had it wasn't even Jay Larson at that point. It was Tom Hunt, who was American record holder, 10,000 meters. Steve Scott, 136 sub 4-minute miles. And we had like 9 guys, right? And we were starting people every 3 minutes. And the thought was, well, our camera, we had one camera. We'll film all the guys teeing off. And then when they, we get them all, then we'll have that guy get over to 9 and get them coming off a 9 heading into the second 9. Well, the problem was after the 3 guys teed off, 3 or 4 guys teed off, it was 4 guys, 3 minutes each. Here comes Steve Scott flying up the 9th fairway. Yeah, he's flying the 9th fairway, and we're like, oh my God, we got to go film that. And the funniest visual from that first one is Steve teeing off on the first hole. He hit a 3-iron, and you can see him catching the ball. The ball's in flight. And he's outrunning the ball. It was the coolest thing ever. So, and the guy who won, Tom Hunt, he shot, I think, 82, and it took him 40 minutes or so. And what was interesting for me is Tom didn't even bring any woods. Even though you had a caddy and a cart, he didn't bring any woods. It was like, listen, I'm going to hit my 3-iron. I hit it really well. I'm going to hit 175. And then I'm going to hit it again 175. So I'm playing for bogeys. I'm trying to get bogeys. And every once in a while, I'm going to, have a nice chip and end up with a par. And that's what he did. And he actually played a round of 100 holes, right? He did 100 holes and basically shot 82, 83, 84, right?
Pretty much every time. Yeah.
Every time. Because you take the woods out, you take that inconsistency out. So anyway, so we put that tournament on and then did a tournament at a place called Morgan Run here in San Diego. And you'll love this. The movie Hoosiers, the star, a guy who played Jimmy Chitwood, he came out and played in the tournament.
Oh, my God.
Yes. It was so fun. So we had Chris Raggi from Entertainment Tonight was sort of our host. So I had Patrick Warburton, who played Putty from Seinfeld. And, we had a number of different celebs out there from different sports, and people loved it. And all that was set up with a cart next to, a guy running. And so, but the one of the issues for me, remember, I had Competitor Magazine, and and at the time, also came up with another idea where two people and a mountain bike take turns running and riding, and with mud pits and obstacles, and like you think about Spartan Race and Tough Mudder. Well, Muddy Buddy
Sure.
was our creation in 1999, and I could put 2,000 people in a Muddy Buddy event. I could put 4,000 down at Disney. At a
Yep.
speed golf event, I could put 60, maybe.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? You know,
Yep.
and how do you, if I'm putting on a running race, you move the fast guys to the front and the slower guys, go to the back. How do you
Yep.
seed when you're doing a golf thing? Because Steve Scott, yeah, he runs really fast, but he's also shooting 105. So
Yeah.
it's that became one of the hardest things for us. And but I just loved putting on our tournaments. We had one over in Maui. It was the Red Bull Speed Golf Open, Extreme Golf Open, and we had 2-person teams. So 2 people from big wave surfing, 2 people from beach volleyball, 2 decathletes, 2 triathletes,
So much fun.
2
Oh my
runners.
gosh.
So the first guy would play and run the hole one. His partner would caddy for him from the cart, and when the ball went in, they would rotate. So, and then we had a DJ at hole one, and you had Red Bull fencing and people diving across the finish line, and people chest bump, things you don't see in regular golf. But that was televised as well, and so we were having a ton of fun with it. And my whole thing is one, grip it, rip it, run like hell. That was one of our things, and the other one was when they'd interview me and say, "Well, what makes this special?" I'm like, "Well, for a lot of us who suck at golf, right?
Yeah.
Why should I suck in 5 hours when I can suck in 1 hour, right?
Bingo.
Right? I called it the Dr. Kevorkian theory of golf. Why take so long to suck? If you're going to be crappy anyways, do it quick. Yes, exactly. Especially if you're a dad and you want to get back to your family, you want to get your golf in, but why not make golf a fitness sport, which is what you guys are latching onto as well? Is golf is the ultimate fitness sport, and you play better golf when you take your mind out of it. I think.
Yes.
I think you hit the ball better when you just run, come up, and hit the ball.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the opposite when you're playing good. You don't. If you're playing bad, you want to get it over. If you're playing good, you don't want to get in the way. You want to stay out of the way and continue to play good. So playing faster makes sense. Bob, I have literally 100 questions.
Oh, go ahead.
Just based upon what we just talked about. And I don't even know where to begin, but I feel like you're talking about an alternate universe where speed golf has been tried and was successful, and it's like, just because I've been in the fray here since 2013 when I kind of first discovered speed golf. But I want to step back a little bit and just kind of talk about your history. I mean, you just already told me about, playing golf as a youngster and your dad taking you out and you kind of having that experience.
Right.
But where did you grow up?
Grew up in Chicago, and then went to University of Illinois, and moved back to Chicago, and I worked at a residential treatment center in a place called Lake Villa with abused kids for a number of years. It was called Central Baptist Children's Home, and we had child abuse cases. We had kids. My job was to mainstream the kids into things like Little League and basketball camps and things like that. Did that for a couple of years, loved it. Moved to San Diego, which was not a hard move. I got a job offer to work at a little private school. It was funny because I remember them giving me a tour of the school. I remember coming from Chicago, and they're giving me a tour of the school, and I'm going, well, this is great. I'm running a PE program, be awesome. So where's the gym? And they're like, well, we don't have a gym. I'm like, well, what do you do when it snows and rains? And, we don't have that stuff. So, for in 8 years of running a PE program and having my Bob Sports Camp, I think I was rained out maybe one day a year. And at that point, that's when I discovered this new sport called triathlon. And triathlon started in San Diego in 1974. And when I moved out in 1978, there was a couple of little races put on by the San Diego Track Club at a place called Mission Bay. And Ironman started. First ever Ironman triathlon was 1978 over in Oahu. And there was 15 people in the race, 12 finishers. So in 1979, they had the race again, and there was an article in Sports Illustrated, which you're way younger than I am, but it's the Bible, right? Back then, you read Sports Illustrated, and they did like an 8 or 9 page feature on this Ironman thing.
Wow.
And that's when myself and my roommate, this guy Ned Overend, who went on to become the world mountain bike champion, but mountain bikes hadn't been invented yet. So he was a mechanic at San Diego Suzuki, and I was a school teacher, and we met each other rock climbing down in Mexico. We decided we're going to go do this Ironman thing, and we had no clue. I thought, it's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 mile run. I thought you swam 2.4 and you
went
rode
to bed.
Well, basically rode 56, camped out, went to bed then rode back the next day and ran the marathon. I was like, that's what made sense to me. But when I found out that, you have your own crew, but you're supposed to do the whole thing in one day. There was no time limit back then. You didn't have to finish by midnight. So anyways, I finished this thing, and I just remember coming into this Capilani Park, and there's a chalk line on the ground, and there's a light bulb hanging over my head, and I'm thinking there's going to be a band, there's going to be all sorts of cheerleaders, there's going to be something going on.
Yeah.
I look out in the darkness, and this guy yells. He says, "Hey, you." I'm like, "Yeah." "You in the race?" "Yeah." "You're done." And that was it. This is like this seminal moment in my life of finishing this thing I never thought I could do. I've got my flat-proof tires on my bike that had been in a fire. I bought from a police auction for $75. I had the fuzzy raccoon seat cover, shorts with a belt. I had no idea what I was doing. And I finished this thing, and I tell people all the time, it's like I got this business card from that race that told me anything in my life that was going to be difficult, I was going to be able to get through it because I got through this thing.
Wow.
And I came back, and I was still teaching school, and I ran into this guy, Mike Plant, who had a little newspaper called Running News. And somehow, based on the 108 of us who had done the triathlon in 1980, I convinced him to change the name of it to Running and Triathlon News, and started becoming the LA editor for Running and Triathlon News. Was there for, until till the magazine closed down in 87. And my partner, who was a photographer from Running and Triathlon News, the two of us, when the magazine went out of business, we didn't know what we were going to do. And some friends gave us a check for $17,000 and said, "Go start your own magazine." That was in May of 87.
Amazing.
And then in June, we came out with the first edition of Competitor. We were underneath 20,000 pounds of bike racks in some guy's shed, basically. And we were paying $200 a month, and ignorance is bliss. We had no idea what we were doing, and we didn't pay each other for about 2 years. I lived on friends' floors, and we grew this magazine called Competitor. We covered running, triathlon, cycling, mountain biking, speed golf, extreme golf, anything that was cool and fun and you were sweating in, we were involved with. So we grew that thing from one magazine in Southern California to eventually 11 editions around the country, and the little Competitor magazine became the Competitor Group with 500 employees, and it became, and eventually we became a partner in all the rock and roll marathons and Women's Running magazine and Triathlete magazine, and it again became the Competitor Group. So that was that's sort of the capsule of what we're doing. In the meantime, I started with two friends of mine, a charity for a buddy of ours who was an amputee, and then he became a quadriplegic, a guy named Jim McLaren, and that led to the creation of the Challenged Athletes Foundation. We just had our gala in New York last week, raised about $2.8 million, and now we've raised over $75 million to keep challenged athletes in the game of life through sport. So that was all part and parcel to to speed golf and extreme golf. We're all part of that equation.
I feel so fortunate because I had a similar experience to you with speed golf. When I found out about it, I was looking at a banner ad, on the computer, and I had just started running again to get back into shape to go try and become a PGA Tour player for kind of my third try in life to do that in my early 30s. But as soon as I played speed golf, I knew, like, this is something that I want to be involved with for the rest of my career. Like, I love golf. I've always been kind of I've always wanted to play on tour, but I kind of knew that dream was over. I had a 1 in a million chance of making it. I didn't, but I thought, this is it. This is the way to be involved. And I just come out of, working as an entrepreneur and in a startup business for 3 or 4 years. So I kind of had that on, top of mind. And I thought this has such great potential. And then I started talking to the guys at Speedgolf International, which I'm not sure if you know Tim Scott and Chris Smith and
Yep. I remember those guys from
them.
back in the day when they were up in Oregon, and they're getting going and putting on tournaments up at the dunes up there.
Yeah, so they started Speedgolf International in 2002. So I got my history back to 2002, hanging out with them, and I just said, guys, let me be involved. I mean, I'm maybe a decade younger than you guys. I've got the passion. I'm ready to go. I want to get involved with this, and that's why in 2014 I became the executive director of that organization. And the next step backwards for me was Jay Larson, because I had talked to Tim Scott, and he kind of told me the story about extreme golf, and then I heard about you, and I thought, it'd be great one day if I can talk to him about it. But I heard, and then I talked to Jay Larson, and I got the story from him, and Steve Scott, and even going back further, and of course now I'm having this conversation with you. So I just feel like it's so great. I've gotten a full picture of this sport that has been happening on an informal basis since like the 1960s, and then it's kind of had a couple of goes where it gets popular, but then there's something that happens and it doesn't get over the hump.
Yep.
And what do you think that is?
You know what? I it's funny because it's over the years, because like with Muddy Buddy, when I was selling, we were bringing in a sponsor for that, where you say, hey, we're going to have 1,000 to 2,000 people. They're going to go pick up their packets at REI or wherever it's going to be. We're going to move the needle for you, Brooks, who was our original title, or for Merrill, who was a title, who was a major sponsor, or REI, or Land Rover. We're doing test drives for you. You've got bulk. You've got numbers.
You got the numbers.
You've got numbers, right?
Yeah.
So to me, the way I always saw Speedgolf, because what I love is my buddy Paul Huddle, when he's in Germany working for Ironman now, but when he's in town, the two of us will go out. And we've got these hard shell plastic bags with spikes on the bottom. We're the first guys out. We wear double gloves because gloves are pretty slippery in the morning, and we play an executive course and play 36 holes in an hour. And there's or an hour and a half. I'm sorry. And what's great about the sport is you're getting a good workout and you're playing golf at the same time, and you're playing better golf than ever. What I have always envisioned, and I know this is tournaments are great, but I think we have to build the grassroots. And to me, my vision has always been the executive courses need help. Right?
Yeah.
Those guys are not packed. And one of the problems with us going out to a regular course and playing in the morning is the guys who are doing the maintenance of the course are used to, okay, they're letting people tee off at 6 a.m. We could be doing maintenance at holes 6, 7, 8, 9 because they're not going to get here for an hour.
And get out in front of them,
Right. Well, the problem is that, it's one thing if you and I run up to a par 3 hole and wave to the guys and the tractors going, hey guys, we're hitting up, and they go to the back. Right. But when you're hitting a driver and they don't see you, I mean, there's a safety issue that goes with that. So that's why I feel the low-hanging fruit is doing a deal with one, either courses that have 3 nines, so that there's 1 9 that's open on Mondays, right? That where you can do stuff. 2 is going to the course and doing a deal of some sort with a company like Garmin or Polar, because the average person loves playing golf. The average person who's maybe 20 pounds or so overweight wants to play golf, can't look at it as a fitness activity, and doesn't like running because you're running on pavement and you feel like crap. Well, now you're running on grass. It's pretty. You're running, 100 yards at a time, right? So you're not like running 500 yards uphill. So to me, imagine you walk into your local course and that morning is speed golf time from 6 a.m. till 9 o'clock. And you've got heart monitors there for people to try out. And your trainer is giving people their workouts. Okay. You're going to walk the first hole. You're going to jog the second hole, and you're going to run hard in the third hole. You're giving them target workouts. it's going up on Strava or on wherever they're able to keep track of
It's an
their workouts.
exercise program. It's a series of exercise programs.
Exactly. It's golf fitness is what we're talking about. Then all of a sudden, when people start playing it, now you're building your core of folks who could actually play in little tournaments. So imagine if you're trying to put on basketball tournaments and nobody played basketball. That's sort of what we're saying. We're saying, hey, we're going to have a Speedgolf. So I was amazed. We're talking, mid 90s, getting 60 people to sign up for these tournaments. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe. So there's people play golf. People love the idea of playing fast golf. The other side of it is having celebrities doing it. When I had, Patrick Warburton from Putty from Seinfeld, and Chris Rogge from Entertainment Tonight, we are getting TV coverage. The event is still cool enough that TV will be interested, and even paying a little bit to do some made-for-TV stuff. But I think the key is the athleticism of the golfers. Of hey, these guys aren't just golfers; they're runners as well. So there's what really helped us at the beginning. We had the president of TaylorMade was playing with us, right? So similar to what's happened with the sport of triathlon and cycling. And back in the day, all the executives want to play golf with Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus and those guys. Now CEOs want to go ride bikes with, some of the bigger, cyclists, or they want to go do triathlons with Dave Scott. That's become sort of the cool thing. Where in the past, none of those guys were doing anything fitness-wise.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah.
The other thing I always envisioned, and again, this is, just from I always felt that the play on speed golf and extreme golf is changing perceptions, right? The perception of golf is it's slow, it's old, it's stodgy, it's
not an athletic sport.
It's not an athletic sport, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's different from any athletic sport you do, because when you and I are playing soccer, basketball, or baseball, we react, right? Golf, you stand and think and process. So when you play golf the way we play, not we, you and I you're a real golfer. I'm the Kevorkian guy, right? But when you play golf and you're moving, the natural tendency is you just swing easy. You run up and it's more natural rather than, like I said, you've got a bag of 14 clubs. You stand and think and process and go, which club do I use? You pull out the 2-iron. Last time you hit that, Reagan was president. And what are the odds of you hitting that? But if I've got my little plastic bag and I'm carrying my 3-iron, my 8-iron wedge and putter, I'm hitting that 8-iron from a lot of different distances and a lot of different angles, and I'm getting pretty darn good at that. So it makes the game into an athletic. The positives are it's an athletic sport, right? Yeah. Two, when a buddy of mine had his Garmin on one day, and we ran 4.5 miles. We were averaging, just under 10-minute miles with stopping, and I'm going, that's a heck of a good workout. So that to me is making the sport, as basically reinventing the sport as an athletic event. It's not about, the guys who can shoot 72 in 42 minutes, because most of us can't shoot 72 ever unless we're just playing 9 holes. So how do you make this game appropriate for your slow running job? And you think about it right now, the number of runners in this country is at an all-time high. I look at what I call the endurance entertainment marketplace. Running, triathlon, cycling, color run, Spartan race, tough, all that is all part of that, right? So there's more people putting numbers on it than ever before. So more people are running than ever before. So to take one run a week and run in the grass and play 18 holes or 36 holes at an executive course, it's a good little workout. So to me, that's the key, is having the par 3 courses around the country embrace this sport and set up those early morning times, because, we're out there playing with headlamps on at 5:30 in the morning because we want to get out there before the first guys.
Yep.
We're not messing up their maintenance, right? Because they're not starting until it's getting lighter out. We're not getting anybody's way, because the problem is if we go off after other people, we leave little divots on the side of their head. That's probably not good. So going on, we have to be the first off, but we're out of their way. So our guys here charged us $10 to play, 18 holes.
It also has to be affordable.
It has to
Exactly.
be affordable. They can't be
Yeah.
charging us, $60, $70. People just aren't going to come. It's got to be one of those things. Hey, let's get the love of golf back for people who haven't played for years and their clubs are just gathering dust in the closet or in the garage. If they can play around a golf, and the other side of it, I always felt that when I mentioned changing perception. So, as an example, if you've got a company that's trying to market something that's new, right? They rent out this golf course on a Monday morning. So say it's in like a Power Bar, whoever it happens to be. They've got a new release. We're changing the game on nutrition. We're changing from a regular breakfast to our new breakfast bar that we want you to have. So they rent out the course, or they rent out a par 3 course and invite industry leaders out, right? And do a little before everybody starts. Hey, thanks so much for coming. You guys are gonna be playing. You're gonna be playing 9 holes, and you're probably gonna take you about 20 minutes to 40 minutes. And then when everybody send out one person at a time, even if you have you give people their own little bag, and then when they finish, you have a healthy breakfast for everybody with your new breakfast thing. Plus, because it's a Monday, local TV, your weather guys are always looking for events during the week.
For something,
There's nothing during the week, right?
Yeah.
So you got them out there, and then you got your president of the company saying, "Hey, we're here to change perception about what breakfast is all about. Speedgolf is about changing perceptions about the sport of golf. Golf is a fitness sport, and when you play it this way, people play better." I've had 2 hole-in-ones running and playing golf. A buddy of mine had been playing for 40 years. He'd never had a hole-in-one. He got his first hole-in-one running with us after about 5 or 6 times. So it's, there's some, and one of my buddies who plays all the time he says, "I don't know what it is, Bob. I hit the ball more solid when I'm playing speed golf." And this is a guy who plays Torrey Pines every week, and he just feels there's a different sound to hitting the ball when he's running.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. It's the same thing for me. Like I slam dunked a shot from the fairway at the World Championship last year, and I mean, I really don't do that often. I've maybe done that, 2 or 3 times in my life, and it's just incredible. You get out there, and you're not playing from the head.
Right.
You're playing from the heart, and that's why I think people finish and they go, "I don't know why. I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. That was super difficult, but I love it. I love it, and I want to do it again as soon as possible."
And it sort of puts you in a position of, I was a little gassed running up that hill. I got to get in better shape, right?
Yep.
And you've realized, I think it all started with Tiger. When Tiger was obviously so much fitter than the rest of the field, he was hitting the ball.
Owning him.
Yeah, he was killing them. Well, what they do, they all look at Jordan. Look at all these guys, the Rory and Jordan. They're all fit. There's there's very few non-fit golfers now. So I think I think that the concept of running and playing, and I like the idea when we did that tournament with the celebrities from different sports, and there's so many different hooks that you can create for the sport. But the key is the money in terms of sponsorship is going to come not so much because of volume, but because of it's cool and different and fun, and I'm going to get media because of that.
Yes. Yeah, one of the common, obviously one of the common things when we reach out to sponsors is, well, they do want to know, like, what are the numbers?
What's the ROI?
How many speed golfers? Yeah, what's the ROI? How many people am I going to reach by helping you out?
Yes.
And that's always a part where we just kind of go, anyway, but it's super cool, and you should be a part of it. And so it has to be. And we have 2 camps. We've got the one camp which says you've got to build the grassroots, and it's absolutely true. And then you got the other camp that says, well, but we need the high-profile athlete. We need the Rory McIlroy running down the fairway, or the Sergio Garcia and those guys over in Europe doing their speed golf thing. And so I think it is a combination of both. But in the end, I think I tend to lean towards the grassroots, just getting people, and changing the perception one person at a time. That we've got to separate what we're doing from the actual sport of golf, because golf is a sport all about score. It's all about how proficient can I become at swinging a golf club and getting the ball in the hole. And speed golf really is not. It's not really a lot about that at all.
No, it's you got to avoid hockey pucking around. The first time you go out, you're like running around the green and realizing, every one of those pokes with the puck, with the ball, with a golf ball is a minute.
Yeah.
So you find yourself getting to the green and relaxing for a second, but you do find, I think you putt better. Are you running off the green going, I just made a 20-foot putt. I could have looked at that from 800 angles and never would have made that thing.
Oh
So
gosh,
I
man.
just think
Yeah.
that there's something very unique to it and very special, but it's funny because you look at the world of golf and you're going, okay, these tournaments, there's not so much speed walk, but regular tournaments, the majors, tons of people watching. But the golf courses themselves, a lot of them are hurting. They've got a lot of expenses. You've got, water shortages. There's so many things happening. There's a whole world of runners that they could be reaching out to. And to me, that's the market.
Yes.
You're not reaching out.
Completely agree.
You've got to get the runners, and most people have played golf at some point and have put them aside because I've got to be more efficient with my workout. So if you look at CrossFit, you look at so many different people nowadays don't brand themselves like they used to. If I was a golfer, all I did was play golf. If I was a gym guy, that's what I did. I just worked out with weights. I didn't do any endurance at all. Well, your cardio guys realize I got to do strength stuff if I want to keep in running and triathlon and cycling. And the strength guys realize I got to do some cardio. Now people don't necessarily brand themselves with one brush. They go, I might do
that brand loyalty. It's that brand loyalty.
Yep.
And I think with millennials and the younger generation, number one, 4 hours 20 years ago, it was perceived a lot different than 4 hours today.
There's
you know what I mean?
No question. Yeah.
And also the brand loyalty aspect. It's not that they stop liking your brand. It's just that there is so much out there today that they go, no, I love what you're doing and I've done it for a while, but I want to go out. I want to go on to the next thing, and I want to try that, and then I want to try that. Maybe I'll come back to you and do the Tough Mudder later. Or I'll do Speedgolf later. But there's not as much brand loyalty because there's so much opportunity to be entertained and to have fun or to challenge yourself through Tough Mudder or like Spartan Race. I have a couple of questions for you. Why do you think? What was the combination of factors that caused you to be successful in your endeavors with competitor and beyond?
Well, I think I think if you love something, if you're passionate about something, that comes through. So when we were, there really wasn't a magazine at that point that was covering running, triathlon, and cycling. You had, Velo News for cycling, you had Triathlete magazine, but where was the entry level publication? Where was something where people don't know what they are? They don't call themselves anything. Well, so that was us. We were the ultimate salad bar. All right. Here's here's this thing with running and playing golf, and here's this thing with triathlon, and here's this thing where you're getting muddy and climbing over. And it's like, this is the ultimate playground. And I think me being the hyperactive, I just want to try new crap all the time. That was what we portrayed through the magazine. And so I think that helped us catch on. The other thing was understanding that people didn't know who our athletes were. They didn't know anything about our sports. So one of the probably the best moves I ever made was doing my own radio show back in 1990, because then people could be listening on an all sports station to an interview with Wayne Gretzky or Magic Johnson, and then hear an interview with Dave Scott or Mark Allen or Steve Scott talking about Speedgolf. And then what happened is people said, well, if they're on this station, they must be major athletes too. So that was our setup for people to understand that these are amazing athletes in amazing sports. And now obviously we pushed really hard for the growth of Ironman, and then we pushed real hard for us to get into the Olympics with triathlon, which happened in 2000. So if I look at everything we did, it wasn't around anytime we had a meeting and said, you know what's really popular right now? People are doing a lot of walking. We should be getting involved with walking. No, that's not what we were. That wasn't our passion. Our passion was running, triathlon, and cycling, right? And then any part of that with obstacles and mud and golf, whatever it happened to be. But it had to be something that we wanted to be involved with. And I think that's always the secret, is you lead with passion. And if you lead with passion, then you're able to talk to potential sponsors and readers, et cetera. It was also important for me to be authentic and be at the races every weekend. I mean, just recently, I turned 65 in May, and I've done like 14 races in the last 13 weeks between triathlon and running because I just love it. And
Yeah.
over the years, I'd be at the races so that I could, I could meet the people who were picking up our magazine and talk to them about what they liked and didn't like and see the trends. If you're part of the trend, you don't have to worry about reading it in Sports Business Journal. It's like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for the last couple months, and now they're writing about it. So
Yeah.
you're ahead of the curve. So
you're creating the trend.
you're creating the trend. That's why I think if you're talking one golf course at a time, and somebody at the course is a runner and goes, you know what, I'm playing better golf because I'm doing this, and it's viral, right? It's in this day and age with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and everything else that's out there. There's so many more ways to reach people and to get them connected to a new sport.
Yeah, and that honestly is there was a lot of reasons why I started the podcast, and I think part of it is the reason, some of the same reasons why you started the radio show, which is we got to get more people to hear about it.
Right.
At the same time, I want to encourage today. There's entrepreneurship today is something that I think is so much easier to get into and potentially make a living out of. Not everybody's going to be making gajillions of dollars, but I think you can do what you love and use the skills and use the technology that's out there today to continue to pursue your passions. But I want to also encourage people with having you on and talking about what made you successful and leading with your passion, because I want them to be encouraged to be able to take that risk
Sure.
and give it a try. So what do you think you would be doing right now if you would have started Competitor Magazine, you had $17,000 and you gave it a good go, and it just, let's just say it's an alternate universe, it didn't happen? What do you think you'd be doing today?
I would have found something else in endurance. If
Yeah.
it hadn't been the magazine, it would have been being a race director. It would have been putting on our own events, because that's sort of what we ended up doing with Muddy Buddy. But that I haven't really thought that much about that. But I'm sure I would have stayed within the confines of endurance, because that was what I loved being involved with.
But what's interesting is that what you're not saying is, well, my skill set from college was this, so I would have just gone and done what my skill set was.
Yeah, I had no skill set. That was a problem.
With my passion,
I didn't have a skill set, unfortunately. So, and that's what I tell people when I was growing the sport of triathlon. We were dealing with the same type of thing where people thought, because people would see the Ironman on television and they'd go 140.6 miles. I can't do that. That's ridiculous. I'd have to give up my family. So getting people to understand that we have short races, that we have races where you finish in a pool for the swim. So you don't have to be out there in the ocean with current and cold weather.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, hey, if you and I go for a bike ride and you get tired, we can stop. If you and I go for a run and I get tired, we can stop. If you and I go for a swim and one of us gets tired, we die. That's a problem, right?
Yeah.
That's a big issue. So that was something that we had to really overcome, especially not so much in Southern California, but other parts of the country. You're talking about doing, nobody was going in Lake Michigan and swimming back then. It was a weird gig. So getting people to understand that you have the skill set to be a triathlete. If you wore floaties as a kid, if you had a paper route, and if you played capture the flag, you've got our skill set, right? You don't need to be 6'6". You had our skill set. So that, to me, was what was so important about building our sport, is making people understand that, guys, this is for everybody. It's an equal opportunity abuser, and it's the sport of triathlon is a fountain of youth, because at the age of 50, and actually Speedgolf is the same way. At the age of 40 or 50, I'm not probably getting that much better as a golfer, right? And I'm not getting much. I'm not getting better as a runner. When you get past 50, it becomes maintenance, right? You try to, if I can run the same pace at 55 that I ran at 50, I'd be a happy guy. Yeah. But when you put the two together, right, and all of a sudden you realize, you know what, I have a really good diesel engine here, and I can run and play golf, and play as good a golf as I played before, play it in a lot less time, play it at a lot less cost, carry a lot less clubs, and feel great about the experience.
Yeah, and everyone tells me, oh, this is so great for the millennials, and that's, I think, where golf is focused, because again, it's golf centric. But I got to tell you, I've had way more 40-year-old people later on in life who love it, who fall in love with it and want to continue to pursue that because it's the way they can do it. The busy professionals, a guy with a family, this is their way to hang around golf and still get their exercise in and be able to do both things at the same time, and I think that's where our world is and our culture and our society is changing as well. Is it's not working out and then going to the golf course to hit balls, or it's not biking and then swimming and then running. It's like, let's do it. Let's find ways to hybridize everything and pack as much into a minute as possible.
So the next thing is reaching out to the driving ranges and saying, hey, do you mind if we set up some spin bikes here and have people spin and then go hit a bucket and spin and go hit a bucket and basically create workouts here at the golf course, at the driving range? Because that's the reality. I mean, you've got to get people to understand that this is a hybrid sport. You're running, or you're working out and you're playing golf. So, being able to hit the ball similar to, in the old sport of biathlon where you're running and then shooting, you want to be able to control your heart rate. So being able to create those type of workouts, think about how many different silly workouts there are, right?
Oh yeah.
First guy who said, hey, I got an idea. We'll put this box in this warehouse and have you jump up and down on it 400 times. And, oh, okay, I'll pay you for that. So you start talking about doing.
Now we got CrossFit.
Exactly. Now you have CrossFit. Now you've got yoga workouts, and you've got all these different things out there. People want stuff that's different and unique. Imagine if you had, spin bikes at the driving range. Imagine if you had, yoga and golf together. So you're combining stuff, and you're bringing a new clientele in to these driving ranges and golf courses that they're not getting. And like you said, I think it really is the 35 and over group who had some exposure to golf, realized they weren't going to get great at it, and now they're going, I wouldn't mind going out and playing, but God, I don't have 5 hours. It's like, wait a second, I can go out first thing in the morning, and one day I'm going for a bike ride, another day I'm taking yoga class. On Wednesday is Speedgolf Wednesday. And I'm going out there and I'm playing 36 holes in an hour and a half and getting to the office by 8 o'clock.
I love it. It's so you can fit so much into an hour. You can do your stretching, you can do your yoga, you can do your CrossFit type stuff, depending on what exercise level you are. And then you head out to the golf course. You go do your 9 holes of speed golf at whatever pace is good for you. And, you've got different programs, and then boom, you take a shower and you're off to work, and you got it all in.
Well, and the best part for us is, we play threesomes. And we spread out across the tee box. And just like the regular rules of golf, if my tee shot doesn't hit the women's tees, your shorts are around your ankles, right? That's the way that's the way it goes. You got your headlamps on, and you play for pars and birdies. A par is a point, and a birdie is 2 points. So you don't have to worry about. You can count to 1, right? I would have a hard time trying to remember that I got a 7 or I got a this. So there's no negatives. You're never going to get a quadruple bogey. You're hitting your shot, and if you're over par, if you've hit your 3rd shot already, you pick up and you run to the next hole. But what's funny is nobody's sprinting, and the best part is you come to the last hole, you come to 18, which a lot of time is 36 for us, but you all hit at the same time, and the guys are standing at hole 1, and they're going to be out there for 2 hours playing 18 holes, and you've just played 36 in an hour and a half. And all 3 guys will hit their shots, and all 3 will jog up there and within 30 seconds tap in for par. And you see the mouths hanging open of the guys at hole 1 going, what the hell was that? And then they see your bag. Like one of the guys we play with, this guy Callaway Pete, who played with Tiger at Stanford, he just carries a wedge, and he birdies and pars every single hole putting with his wedge. And we come off 18, and they're looking at us with these little bags with our gardening gloves on, and the fact that we've just played 36 holes an hour and a half, and guys are getting 25 pars or 36 points like Callaway Pete with his pars and birdies, and you're going, this is the way it should be. You guys are the weird ones, being out there doing something, and you've got your cart. And you've got your bag with 14 clubs, and you're wearing your polyester, and what the hell?
What is that?
Exactly. You look like
I feel
goofballs.
like we're holding on to this secret, Bob, and it's like
Yep.
not a secret, but we've got this special thing, and I want to spend the rest of my career getting it out there. And I can't thank you enough for coming on today to the Pace of Change and talking a bit more about this. And as we make progress, I would love to check in with you, have you back on the podcast, and catch up with you. I wanted to let you know Rancho Carlsbad is now offering Speedgolf.
Oh, like in the mornings?
Yeah, in the mornings. Gina Deltz is the GM there. I read an article that they did in a local newspaper out there. And so I got in touch with her, and she said, yes, absolutely. She said, I want to get into shape, and I think I'm so busy, but I think this would be a great way to do it. So we had the director of Speedgolf SoCal, who's up in L.A., he went down. He played 18-hole. It's a par 3 18-hole. He played in 30 minutes. And,
nice.
And Gina said the average time it takes a foursome to play is 3 hours.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, no, yeah.
It blew her mind.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, she was, and he wasn't. He did a video. I'll send it to you, but he wasn't running fast. He was just jogging. He was jogging. Absolutely. Step up. He'd look at for his putts, he'd take a couple looks and maybe take 10 seconds to hit the putt, and he'd move right on. It took him 30 minutes to play 18 par 3s.
Love it. Well, and that's Loma Santa Fe Executive Course has let us play in the past, and having courses that understand that are open to people playing is the best. And it's seriously just incorporating that into your regular fitness regimen during the week. That's what's going to happen is people will realize that, hey, this is no different from I'm going to my CrossFit class, I'm going to yoga class, I'm going to ride my bike or do a morning cross training workout.
Yeah, I realized recently, when I come from the golfing background, so
right.
What do I think? Oh, we've got to get the USGA involved. We've got to get the PGA of America involved. But you know what? The USGA, what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to protect the traditions of the game.
Exactly.
So their whole entire reason for being is contrary to what we're trying to do, which is to expand the sport and break free from it.
They don't want chest bumping at the start. Is probably what you're saying. Yeah.
But I tell you what, golf course operators, they're open to anything. I mean, last year I started a race series called Links Run, and it has nothing to do with golf. It's all about running, and you go up, but you do it on grass.
Yep.
You run down the middle of the fairway, and you either run a 5K, which is about 9 holes, or you run a 10K, which is about 18. And it was super popular. The golf courses that were a little bit leery, and oh my gosh, what about the greens? We built the race route so that we protected their golf course from from that kind of stuff, and they loved it. And they said, "Hey, you come back whenever you want and do that." So there's just so much opportunity right now with golf course owners, and we're going to put together a speed golf kit so that if golf courses want to get involved with that, they can just open up the box. We've got instructions. We can tell them exactly how to get started. But I think one of the other areas, and we briefly discussed this, but is building out an exercise program, a speed golf exercise program like we were just talking about. I think that's vital to the growth of the sport.
Well, because then what you do is you're reaching out to people who would love to play better golf and would love to be in shape, who need to lose 20 pounds.
Yep.
And then you build those success stories. And, hey, listen, I'm playing better golf than ever. I lost 20 pounds. I'm running on the grass because when you're overweight, running on cement and a blacktop is hard on the legs. All of a sudden, you're running on the grass. It feels great, and you're not just running to run. You're running because you're playing golf, and that's what makes it a great time. So, anyways, I couldn't agree more. I think there's a ton of upside. I think the key is getting a Polar or a Garmin or one of those one of the Fitbit, and getting some of those folks to embrace it and have product available. It's not like you're changing the product, it's existing product. So that to me is developing some partnerships. Like you said, you're doing something with the golf courses now. That's step one. And having them reach out to some of their partners, because all of us are trying to do the same thing. We're trying to make those courses more successful. I always felt one of my philosophies with competitor was if a race director is successful, then what happens is the retailers become successful, because if there's more running races or triathlon races going on, people are buying more shoes. People are they're tuning up their bike. It used to be triathlon ended, the season in Southern California ended with Ironman in October and didn't start till Wildflower in May. So during the winter, who's tuning up their bike? You're not tuning up your bike if you don't have any races. So we helped start this whole, duathlon, biathlon in the winters, where it was a run, bike, run. type of series, and then all of a sudden, all the bike shops are doing well again.
Retailers love it.
And
Yeah.
so the retailers starts with the events, with those mass type of events. And what I mean in this particular case, I think it starts with the courses. Then it moves to the retailer, right? And then when the retailers and the events are growing in that region, what happens? The manufacturers reach out. All of a sudden, Nike and Adidas and Reebok wanted to be more involved with Southern California because there was more action, there was more sales. So it's that to me is it's I don't think it changes much from sport to sport. You got to get more people playing, and when we get more people playing and saying to themselves, I love this sport and I want more of it, then all of a sudden you got retailers are doing better, manufacturers are doing better, retailers are understanding that fitness is a part of golf and they can't ignore it. Everybody wins.
Wow. One last question.
Yeah.
So as a pioneer, as somebody that's out there and spearheading a movement and what you were doing with competitor, I know the vision in your head was complete. Even though it took probably 5 years, 10 years, years and years and years for that vision to actually come true, because like you said, you had to take the first step and the second step. But the question is kind of, I guess, two parts. One, how did you either buckle down and focus? Did you buckle down and just focus on completing step one first, or did you try to reach out and get other people involved and kind of use the efforts of many people? Or did you jump around and go, well, this week I'm doing this, and next week I'm going to go over to the marketers, and then I'm going to run a race and race direct? I mean, what was your strategy? Was it all over the place, or was it very focused?
It was pretty much all over the place, because basically when I did Ironman and fell in love with that event, and like I said, there's 100 of us. And then as I kept going back, it grew from 100 to 200 to 300. And then, when Julie Moss collapsed in the 82, February 82, you remember that? Yeah, that was our big moment, right? Then all of a sudden a regional series called the United States Triathlon Series started in June of that year. They added the Ironman. They moved it to October because that would be better for people around the world. And they started getting sponsors like Timex and Budweiser and
So
Gatorade.
You can't plan for that. You can't plan for her falling over. Nope. That just happened, and it was like so fortuitous.
And it touched a nerve, and we were there at the ground floor because I'd been, was involved with triathlon. So when there's no way when I started our little magazine in 87, and we were a free publication, and we were in Southern California, there's no way that Gatorade would have come in as an advertiser in our magazine. They would have gone, their agency would have said, they're not an audited magazine. You need to go through, BPA or one of the other services, and they wouldn't even come up on the radar. And Gatorade's response was, this magazine is very connected. It's intimately involved with this sport and the growth of sport, because we've been covering it for a number of years at that point. So that's led to us getting national business because we are involved with this thing called the Ironman. Ironman led us to this, and it was one of those things that worked for both of us. We obviously helped to promote the sponsors of the Ironman, and the same with the United States Triathlon Series. So everything worked a little hand in glove. We all understood. The race directors understood that I was there to grow their events. If they were successful, I was successful, right? That was really what it came down to. And so the plan was, hey guys, let's all work together. When Tim Murphy came to me, myself and Lois Schwartz, and said, Bob, I've been doing this Carlsbad 5000 5K event forever, and I've got this concept called Rock and Roll Marathon, and I need to come out. I can't come out with 3,000 people and try to build it to 10,000 like Carlsbad. In this day and age, and we're talking 1998, you have to come out hot. You have to come out. If you're a 20,000 person event, you can't tell your sponsors we're going to become a 20,000 person event. You have to invest to become that now. So he lost $1 million year one, but he had over 20,000 people for his first ever rock and roll and put it on the map. But we supported him from the very beginning because he was looking to pop the envelope. You had Boston, New York, Chicago, you had marathons that had been around forever. There was no new marathons until rock and roll came around, and rock and roll changed everything.
Changed everything. Oh my gosh.
Changed everything. Brought new people in, brought women in, brought charity in. Everything that the sport has helped make the sport successful came from what rock and roll created back in 1998. And so all of that was, we needed, like I said, you're leading with passion, which
Yeah.
means that you are intimately involved with every race director in your marketplace, right? So
Yeah.
every one of them, we met with them all the time, because it wasn't just about growing my magazine and getting money from them. It was all of us working together to grow our industry so everybody would be successful.
Yeah, it wasn't about having a financial model and having
No,
statistics and data and
no,
pieces of paper and business plans. It
nope.
was about people, and it was about relationships. And I think
Yep.
that totally wins the day. And that's the best part of what I've been doing the last 3 years has been all of the amazing people that I've met. And really the best part of this podcast, that's another reason why I started it, is because I wanted to get to know people and I wanted to learn from them,
Right.
And so I can't thank you enough, Bob, for coming on today. You're a man full of wisdom. You're a man full of experience, and just full of passion. It's been so exciting to have you on, and I look forward to the next time we get to do this. I want to let you know I'm going to be there down in San Diego in first or second week of August. So I'm going to get back in touch with you, but
I
I'd
love
love
it.
to catch up, hang out. If you got time for speed golf, let's go jog around and play
Love it.
36 in an hour, and we'll have a great time.
I love it, Scott. Thanks. Congrats on everything you're doing. And, just keep following your passion. That's really what it's about. And the sport, the sport is, the sport will sell itself, but people have to get a club in their hand. They have to be running on the grass and making that first putt, and understanding that I can play just as well, if not better, by running. That just changes everything.
Wow. Awesome. I'm more inspired than I've ever been. So, Bob Babbitt, thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's episode 25 with Bob Babbitt in the books. How good was that? I've taken copious notes. I'm going to listen to this thing a few more times. You know why? I want to push the sport of golf into the 21st century. How do we do that? And golf is not a one-dimensional sport. Golf is exercise. Golf is a fitness sport, just like Bob was saying. So, hey, we hope you enjoy our weekly podcasts with the thought leaders, pioneers, and game changers in the golf industry. Thank you for listening. Seriously. You can support our efforts as well by following us on Facebook /Pace of Change and Twitter @Pace of Change Pod. Visit our website, paceofchange.com. We've got all the show notes from the first 25 episodes up. We've got our sponsor and affiliate page. You can just swipe through there if you're on your iPhone or iPad. If you're on the computer, there's little buttons to click left and right. We've got all kinds of discounts for products and services that are innovative and are going to help your game. Also, sign up for our newsletter. It's going to keep you up to speed on the latest POC podcast news, announcements, and updates. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you're listening on iTunes, subscribe there as well. And you can really help us by taking a few minutes and leaving a review. And don't forget to share our podcast with everybody you know. If you want to get more involved with what we're doing with golf and really creating this golf as exercise, golf as a fitness sport direction, send us an email. We've got plenty to do. You just tell us what you're good at. You tell us what you're passionate about. We can definitely find a way to get you involved. Now, how else can we serve you, the listener? What other topics would you like to hear about? Who in the world would you like us to interview? Leave your comments on social media and know that we value your feedback. All right, guys, until next week, pick up the pace, play from the heart. We'll talk to you then.